Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name is Calabugas, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups, the future, not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe, and please drop us a note on Apple Podcasts. That'd be greatly appreciated. Now let's talk about the future of real estate. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been having a little bit of a stream of future of shows. And this is the thing that I found very interesting, is that real estate hasn't really changed that much, even though we've had the coronavirus. See, this is the thing, is that what is the pre-coronavirus model of work and life and family and real estate? You live in one place, you work in another. You commute from point A to point B, and then commute from point B to point A. That is the pre-coronavirus model of real estate. You need a place to live, you need a place to work, and never the twain shall meet. Now, there are some people who do work from home, and there are some people who telecommute, but that's a small percentage. Even though we've been able to telecommute since 1982, there's a small percentage of people who worked from home. Even though many of us are knowledge workers who can work from anywhere, absolutely anywhere, we still see all of these companies driving people to work from the office. And up until coronavirus, up until COVID-19 hit, that was pretty much basically the case. Even though we have the facility, we have the technology to be able to work remotely and have a massive amount of remote work, which has done so much to improve the environment, improve health and wellness, etc. We still had so many people, so many companies forcing their employees to come to work. Now, they didn't say, let me take that back. It's not forced, but they created an environment, maybe in some place it was forcing. They created an environment that really encouraged people to come to work. And they were expected to come to work. That's what people were expected to do. They were expected to come to work. So they came to work. And because places where they worked were usually expensive to live in, they had to find a place somewhere further away and commute. It was very rare that people had short commutes, especially here in the Bay Area. People had 2-hour commutes, 4-hour commutes. People would actually live 2, 3, 4 hours away and live in an apartment or live in a van near Google headquarters because they couldn't afford a place here. But now this is all gone. With the advent of coronavirus, with this crisis, we realize we don't need to have everybody in the office. We can change that. We don't need to have everybody in the office. But still, people are starting to be driven back into the office. So I thought, once this happened, I thought to myself, well, maybe we're going to finally see a sea change in real estate. Because especially around here, you see these tiny little condominium complexes being built beside the BART station, beside Caltrain, beside public transport. And the reason why they're being built beside public transport, because the whole concept is that you work in an office building, which is in a city, and you live in a condominium, which is near a public transit location, so you can get in your you can leave your apartment, walk to your public transit location, get on that public transit, it'll take you to wherever your office is, you can work your day, and then you can turn around and go back. And that was the model that was presented and the model that was provided, and that is where real estate was going. And we see this continuing, even though we've had coronavirus, we've had this no longer a requirement for people to be in the office, we still see these tiny little places being built near public transit. And I thought for sure that due to this change, this crisis, that we were going to see a change in real estate. We're going to see real estate values drop for these tiny little homes, which really are not worth the $800,000 that they're being charged. So I thought to myself, okay, so that might not be a good idea. Buying one of those homes might not be a good idea, because if we're going to be able to live and work anywhere, We don't need to be near Google's HQ. We don't need to be near Facebook's HQ. We don't need to be near Dell's HQ. We don't need to be near all these HQs in order to work. Then how is that going to affect real estate? I could live in Idaho and still work for Facebook. I could live in St. Louis and still work for Google. But it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed because I think we haven't hit that tipping point yet where people realize that the new normal is going to be telecommute, remote workers. The new normal is remote work. And I've said this before, is if I were to start a company today, it would be completely remote work. I wouldn't buy office space. I wouldn't buy any commercial space. In fact, I'm surprised that the commercial space real estate has really dropped, but the actual home real estate hasn't. And I still don't understand why that hasn't happened. I think it's being propped up by this continuing vision that we have, and this is a problem we always have as humans, is that we like things to continue the way they are. When we see aberrations, like what's happening with COVID, when we see this crisis, when we see this aberrations, we keep thinking, how are we going to get back to normal? But maybe normal is not good. Maybe normal is not the way to go. Maybe we shouldn't be getting back to normal. Maybe we should be doing something new. And this is something that us humans, we have to get over. We have to understand that there may be a better way. What we've been doing so far isn't working. I mean, it's working in some ways, and we're used to it. But other ways are better. And it's one of those particular foibles of humanity that we get stuck in these grooves, and we just stay in these grooves. And then when we're kicked out of the groove, we're saying, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to get back in this groove? Well, maybe that's the wrong groove. Maybe there's a better groove that you can get into. Maybe there's an improved groove that's right beside your current groove that you didn't think about, or that you're saying, you know what? That's not what I'm used to. But you know what? It might be better than what you're used to. Better than what you're used to. And I think I've seen that happen all the time, is that when people are forced out of their comfort zone, when people are forced to do something different, unless they're incredibly negative about it and they're not open and optimistic about these other paths, they might not realize that these other paths might be better than what they're doing now or what they did before. So we need, as human beings, to open ourselves up to opportunities and different paths that could be better, that are better. So maybe there's a new normal that's actually better than the old normal. We just have to make it so. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.